Hello everybody, just thought I would actually do a recording on why exactly I'm in this whole process and why I'm such a strong advocate for trying to get this process corrected. I guess my main question was, if doctors are really afforded fairness and due process as such when they're going through any Medicare audits, and there are situations that are illustrated in the law itself that's actually preventing doctors from being able to have this. I also wanted to touch base on just giving you a contextual story about why Julian Burnside, an amazing barrister QC like him, was involved in writing this article or helping me write this article. And I just wanted to talk to you about the story behind it because it might actually, hopefully, empower other people way more powerful and important than me to actually do something about this situation. So I guess starting off, it's been about 3 years of this ongoing investigation and interrogation by Medicare, and the Professional Services Review, and still the final determination is pending. And it's all about whether, I have actually billed properly for the service that I have provided. Nothing to do with any fraudulency or whether I've seen the patients or not or any of that. It's just literally if I have actually sufficed all the regulatory checkpoints in billing the amount of money that I received for the services that I gave. What I hope to do with, sort of talking about this is to illustrate how unjust and I guess unfair this entire process is. I'm not actually saying that the process is bad. I think it's absolutely necessary because obviously, we need to be accountable for what we are paid, especially it is, it's taxable, tax money. But it's just that the process at the moment is contradicting in so many ways that it's not good. To give you a contextual background, I was a GP registrar, a trainee doctor, and I still am. I've just passed one of my exams. I'm due to sit my other KFP exam and my OSCE exam next year. So I'm still technically a non-vocationally registered GP registrar under the independent pathway under the college. So during the time that PSR was questioning me or the Medicare was questioning me, I was actually a registrar. I was caught by the radar probably because I was under two types of government-approved independent GP pathways for fellowship. One was the AMDS, the Australian Medical Deputising Service, and the other one was a special approved professional placement. Both are acknowledged and valid GP training program placement by the RACGP. Why was I in both programs? Other than some may say I'm just greedy, just wanting to make money. Well, I had a personal, financial, and emotional need to work many hours and earn a much higher wage than that of a conventional GP registrar since 2012. And it was because my 8-year-old daughter was abducted from her school in Brisbane. And I had to fund the exorbitant legal fees and retrieval fees to try to get her back. Unfortunately, to this date, I haven't been successful in getting my daughter back. My work was my solace, and it still is, and my patients healed me by by giving me that humble privilege of caring for them in their time of needs. I don't think I would be okay if it wasn't for this job. Initially, to be honest, I welcomed this peer review process and the subsequent professional services review process because in my heart, and as a matter of fact, I had, based on my knowledge and interpretation of the MBS, I billed all my patients appropriately. As far as I was concerned, as far as my supervisors were concerned, I had done nothing wrong, but the pressures of PSI investigations continued to heat up, and with the MBS task force that was assigned, my employers, technically just terminated me from the special approved program and the AMDS program abruptly, I guess because they thought that, me being under these investigations would trigger more investigations into their organizations, pretty much leaving me unemployed halfway through sitting my fellowship exams, needing to get a job. Luckily, I was able to secure jobs in a hospital system, but completely away from general practice. Overnight, I was obliged to give up over 4,000 patients in my well-established GP practice And I then made the decision to study law myself to fully understand what was happening to me. I had already done some semesters in law, or Masters of Law, because of the fact that I wanted to do that for, my daughter's experience that I had, that I didn't want parents going through what I went through. And now I guess I had more motivation to understand the law, because I guess doctors really didn't understand their legal rights. Currently, I'm in my final year of law, and I'm soon to become a legal practitioner myself. And I started to question the advice that I've been given by my medical defense organisation. I felt that there was a presumed sort of guilt without any proof. And it was almost like they just wanted me to mitigate when I have technically done nothing wrong. No one, including AMA, the colleges, the medical defense organisations, and my own colleagues wanted to entertain the remote possibility that I may have been speaking the truth, and that in fact I have worked extreme long hours, and that I had delivered quality care to every single patient whom I billed under Medicare. 3 days prior to my PSR hearing, I received an ultimatum from my medical defense organisation that if I was to bring any legal conflicts or due process issues during my hearing, which might result in the referral to APRA or to the medical board, they would not cover me. And then a few weeks later, after I attended my PSR hearing, alone by the way, because I couldn't have any defense, the medical defense organisations weren't willing to actually back me, the medical defense organisation went ahead and decided to cancel my renewal for the subsequent year, because in their eyes, our relationship was, as they expressed it, irrevocably destroyed. Purely because I refused to mitigate my situation, and I had maintained a steadfast belief in myself and my work ethics, and I wanted to stand up for my own rights as a clinician, and most of all, as an avid patient advocate for a better and sustainable healthcare system. I'm thankful for those patients who supplied me with their affidavits confirming the care I provided to them in accordance to the MBS requirements, this being the only support I received during this entire process. After finishing the 6 days of interrogations from the PSR panel, I wanted to understand what happened to me. David Dumm, who has spent the last 27 years on these sort of issues, brought up issues of due process in his expert witness statement, but nothing really helped. I wanted to discuss the things I learned from the hearing, the claims and deliberations that were made, the assumptions, the accusations, the generalizations and subject matters discussed in the hearings, as well as the strategies I could use, which helped me clarify many of the accusations, but I couldn't. And that was because of Section 106ZR of the Health Insurance Act, which prohibits any of us to talk about it. This was pointed out to me by my solicitors that I shouldn't talk about it unless I want to, go to jail for 12 months. Essentially, the choice was to shut up and don't say a word about all the things you found out in these hearings while your colleagues continue to entrap themselves, or to disclose so that no other colleagues would get into this trap, and so I could let other medical practitioners know the truth so they could avoid audit anxieties, which would ultimately affect patient care, and then go to jail. So, all of which got me thinking profoundly about the fairness and legitimacy of this act. What was there to hide? Why did they not want to speak out and share the information to avoid repeated mistakes of the same things? With these questions in my mind and subtle fear that perhaps my curiosity had no substance, I was just going insane or something. I came across Julian Burnside's TEDx talk held in Sydney 2015. I've always held him to be among one of the most prominent and respected of human rights barristers in this country has ever had. I wrote to Julian on his public email address expressing the tremendous feeling of unfairness of these procedures, which I believed violated my constitutional right to be afforded natural justice. To my surprise, Julian agreed to meet me in person, and when I explained the situation, he kindly agreed to edit this article to illustrate the unfairness and unjust nature of the statute, which has subsequently been published in the Medical Republic. What is particularly unjust about this proceeding is that during these interrogations, one is not afforded legal counsel, and the deliberations and findings of these hearings cannot be disclosed to the public, so that nobody has any precedential reference to be guided, nor are there commonly agreed, peer-reviewed and endorsed standards or benchmarks used by the PSR panel members other than their own opinion based on their belief and that they represent the general body of general practitioners. The findings and opinions fluctuate and are inconsistent. AMA is supposed to be the gatekeeper to ensure due process, but they're conflicted because they themselves appoint these PSR members. The same goes with the colleges. The medical defence organisations basically want to minimise cost, which is understandable, and they're there to basically mitigate. That leaves me to continue this journey as a sole individual or to cave in and accept the defeat. Look, as Julian Burnside said in his 2015 TEDx talk, in the face of injustice, when you see something, what will you do? Say, at least I tried, instead of not doing anything and being complacent. Stand up against injustice and make sure you stand up for justice and never, ever give up. I hope that my story will somehow inspire my colleagues to stand up to this injustice affecting us and our patients. I'm going to continue these podcasts to see if I can just give more information in regards to, billing and what I understand of it. It's not legal advice. It's not official advice. My intention is to actually file for a declaration and injunction order in regards to these process with no compensation or damages claim. I don't need any of that. I just want to know that this process is actually not fair based on my analysis, and hopefully the court would understand that and change it so that it's fair for all of us. I hope this helps. All right.